Hello, good afternoon, welcome to Maths Live. So, here is your starter challenge, loosely linked to today's theme. Obviously didn't want to jump straight into a question without any teaching. So, the question is, where would you place this number, 236, on this number line? You might want to draw it yourself on a piece of paper. You don't have to be wholly accurate. It's about using your knowledge of place value and a given, a given space, and using that place value to put an equate in between different numbers, and using the positioning of place value to help it. I think those are the two key words: place value and using that to position, PP, together. Okay, so have a go at that if you haven't already done so, and we will come back. I know that's one in the comments, it's probably a harder one to explain where you've put it, but you might try and explain, justify where it could be. You might compare it to one of the values on the left to one of the values on the right. Go for it, go for it. So let's have a look. Let's get started. So welcome to you that are tuning in live. Welcome to you that are catching up, whether it be on Facebook or YouTube. So our topic is rounding this week. Okay. And we're going to work through step by step today, and on Wednesday we're going to use our knowledge from today's lesson and punch through some sort of challenge questions. And this, in its sense, I was like saying, we did place value last week and we're doing rounding this week, and this question nicely links between the two. So, placing a number on the number line. Now, the main skill here is you do not have to just look at the number line and go and put a mark somewhere. Because it might say, my question might say, place an arrow on the number line. It doesn't mean you can't make other small marks or increments to help you maneuver that. So I come down, right, 100 and 300. Now, I know that there is, because it's going up in, because these two values are hundreds, there is 100 in between, that's 200. And 200 is exactly between 100 and 300. So if I try my best, now obviously you can't be as accurate as you can, if I put a little mark there, you are absolutely allowed, you're absolutely allowed to do that. I'm just having a step back. Yeah, it's okay to make your own little increment mark, because you're showing you're working out. It's like if you had an addition, subtraction, multiplication, division question, it encourages to show you're working out. You are allowed to do that in this. Okay, so now I'm between, now because I know it's 236, I can disregard this side. I'm not going to scribble it out, but I can disregard this side. I know now that this number is somewhere around here on the number line. Now again, 200, 300. A value in the middle of that is 250. Okay, and can you see I'm gradually breaking down the space where this number could occur? So now I know it's in between these two increments. And now what I'm going to try and do is jump up in tens. Now again, you could, because I know that, so I'll say maybe 210, 220, 230, 240, something like that. Again, you might look from your angle and go, not completely accurate, Steph, but it's definitely more accurate than being from this side to this side. So 236, this would be 210, 220, 230, 240. Right, now, actually, you know what? No, I'm not going to rub it out. I'm not going to rub it out. I'm going to keep it there. So 210, 220, 230, 240. Now I know it's in between these. 230 between 240. I can't get exactly halfway, but I would put it there. That's where I put 236 on the number line. As you can see, I've used place value to split it up. So if you ever get a question like that, it's not just a random, I think it's there. Be a detective. Find out what you might know about, because they've given you these two values for a reason, okay? Or a similar amount. Right, today, yes, rounding. So we're going to learn how to round to the nearest 10, and then nearest 100, and then the nearest value. Step by step, one at a time, and then as I said on Wednesday, we'll have a go at mashing them all together and progress through the primary curriculum. So what do we mean by rounding? Sort of what we just did there, okay? You might be asked, for example, what 47 is to the nearest 10. What is 47 to the nearest 10? Right, let's do some visualising, let's do some drawing, let's bring that to life so we can start to picture what that means. Now, nearest 10, 47 has got tens and ones, or tens and units, okay? The 10 that it is in currently is 4, so it's in the 4 tens, and that means 40. Okay. So 47 has 4 tens. Okay. Now when it says the nearest 10, put it on a number line, 47. We know, like I say, it's higher than 40, but if you placed it on the side, the next 10 after 40 is 50. So what it's asking us, is it nearer to the 10 that it is currently in, or is it nearer to the next 10 up? That will always be the case with rounding. Where is it in the 10 or the 100 or the 1,000 that it's currently in right now, or do we need to go closer? Now, 47, I'm going to be more accurate than what it shows there. Can you see similar to what I did before? 40 and 45 is there, so that's halfway, okay? Now 46, 47 is about there. So you can visually see that 47 is nearer to 50. So 47 to the nearest 10 would be 50. Is it nearer to 40 or is it nearer to 50? So that's what we're talking about. But thankfully, if you're rounding to the nearest sort of million, you don't have to draw a big number line and start placing all these values along. That's just me visually showing you. I will do it again when we go to the hundreds. But there is a rule, and you might know it. There's lots of different ways we can try and remember. Okay? The basic rule is, if the number that we're rounding, so for example, when we round to the nearest 10, it is the units that tell us what to do. If we're rounding to the nearest 100, it is the tens that tell us what to do. If we're rounding to the nearest 1,000, it's the 100. So it's always the place value to the right that bosses around whatever we're rounding to. If it ends in a 0 or a 4, some say we round down. I like to say we stick. So we don't change whatever tens or hundreds or thousands we're in. But I will put like a down sign. Okay. If it ends in 5 or 9, we round up. We go to the next 10. Just like we did in the first question. 47, we went up to the next 10 because it was 47 was nearer to 50 than 40. Okay. So that's our general rule. So if I show you another example, one of the two examples, let's say we have 24, and again we're rounding to, we're rounding to 10 to start. 24 and 58. So if we're rounding those to the nearest 10, again you could place it on the number line. It's currently in the 20s, there's 2 tens. So it's either going to stay in the 20s or it's going to go up to the next 10, which is the 30s. Now, I say you could put it on the number line, but let's follow the rule. Because the digit to the right, next to it, the place value is a 4, that means we round down or we stick. So we don't move from the 20s, we stay in the 20s. So to the nearest 10, it is 20. 58, we're currently in the 50s. The digit to the right is an 8. And if it ends in 5, 6, 7, 8 or 9, that means we round up. So we go up to 60. 58 on the number line would be nearer to 60 than 50. Okay, I want you to have a go. Okay, I'm going to give you 3 numbers. I'm going to give you 31, 22 and 47. Can you have a go at rounding those to the nearest 10 for me? Have a go at rounding to the nearest 10. Hi Maria, hi Santino. Sorry, I forgot to put my phone upstairs. Hi Nawa, hello. Oh, got some answers coming in. Good. Okay, right. So, 31 is currently in the 30s. It's a 1 to the right of it, so that means we stay in the 30s. 22 is currently in the 20s. There's a 2 next to it, so that means we round down or stick, so we stay in the 20s. 47, we're currently in the 40s, now it's a 7 next to it, so that means we need to go up and round to 50. Okay, but that's not where you might end with rounding to 10, because you could be given a question like this. Can you round 255 to the nearest 10? So even though it's a 3-digit number, you could still be asked this problem. Okay, so here's what you should do. Because we're still focusing on rounding to the nearest 10, let's just ignore the hundreds column just for a bit. You can't forget about it, just ignore it for a bit. Now, we've got 55 and we need to round 55 to the nearest 10. We've got our 10s, we've got our 1s. Okay, it's currently in the 50s. And remember, because it ends in a 5, we round up. So 55 to the nearest 10 is 60. But then, the 2, the hundreds that we forgot about just for a second, now comes back. Okay, the answer's not 255 rounded to the nearest 10 is not 60. That's a big difference. A whole 200's disappeared. So that's what you can do to help you. You might have 8,761 and you have to round it to the nearest 10. Okay, so let's just focus on the 10s and the 1s because that's the only part we need at the moment to structure it. So I'm not only just going to ignore the hundreds, I'm going to ignore the thousands as well. 61 to the nearest 10 is 60. Similar to above. And then we just put the number in before that. Okay, show you one more. 597 rounded to the nearest 10. Okay, so let's ignore the hundreds. Start. Now, 97 rounded to the nearest 10. We're in the 90s. Then the next 10 after 90 is 100. So don't panic if that happens. That just means that we've got to play. It's like when you're adding and we've got to regroup. we've got to add one into the hundreds column, okay? So essentially, the 97 is changing to that, okay? 100's been added, so now we do need to change the 5. The 5 becomes a 6. And if you imagine it on the number line, 597, well, the next 10 after 97 is 100. 97 to 100, if we forgot about that, 97 to 100, but it happens to be 500, so this would happen to be 600. So that's why that would happen, okay? Right, your turn. So I'd like you to have a go at 132, remember still to the nearest 10, 587, and 2,222. Nice funny number there. Have a go at rounding those. Okay, so let's have a look. So again, going around to the nearest 10, so let's focus on the 10s and the 1s at the moment. So 32 to the nearest 10 is 30. And then we'll put our hundreds back in front, which we haven't needed to change. 587, so 87 to the nearest 10 is 90. We need to round up because the 1s tell us to budge up. And then we can put our 5 in front. And even though it's a 4-digit number, we're still rounding to the nearest 10. So let's focus on our 10s, and the units tell us what to do, the digit to the right. So 22 to the nearest 10 is 20. And then we just put our other place values, slot them back into place. Okay. So well done if you got those. Well done if you got them. Don't worry if you didn't. It's all good practice. So now we're going to have a go at rounding to 100. And it's the same thing, except for we've budged along the place value. Okay. So we might have 328. And now our answer is going to be a multiple of 100. Currently, we are in the 300s. So we're either going to stay in the 300s in our answer or go to the next 100. The next 100 is 400. So if we got a number line, we're currently in the 300s. The next 100 along would be the 400s. If we did what I did at the start of the lesson, was I found halfway, which is here, and 328 is in between 300 and 350, about there, I'd say. So you can see visually 328 is a lot closer to 300 than it is to 400. So the answer is 300. But we don't want to be drawing number lines or number scales every single time. So what is the rule? Now I rounded to the nearest 10. It was the 10s we were focusing on, and the digit to the right, the units, the ones that was telling us what to do. This time it's the hundreds we're focusing on, and the digit to the right that's telling us what to do is the 10s. So 300 is what we're currently in. The digit to the right is 2, so it's 2 10s. 2 means you round down or you stick, so we stay in the 300s. Okay, 748. Okay, So again, our answer needs to be a multiple of 100, whether it's 300, 700, 900. It has to have 2 zeros at the end. We're currently in the 700s, and the place value to the right is a 4. Now 4 means round down or stick, so we stay in the 700s. We don't round up to the next one. Okay. And for the last one, let's say 3,000. Oh, I've done 400 quite a lot, haven't I? 3,675. Now, just like before, we're rounding to the nearest 100. Here is our 100. Okay? And it's the digit to the right that's telling us what to do. Now, at the moment, we don't need this thousand, so we're going to ignore it. So we're currently in the 600s. The digit to the right, the place value, is a 7. Now 7 means round up, so we're not going to stay in the 600s. We're going to go to the next 100. The next 100 after 600 is 700. And now we can bring our 1,000 back into it. Okay, right, your go. Your go. So your 3 digits around the nearest 100 is going to be 168. We're going to have 452 and 8,124. So I'd like to have a go rounding those 3 numbers to the nearest 100. Let's just have a look. Oh, wow, lots of answers. Oh, no, don't worry if you made a mistake. Don't worry, don't apologise. That's how you learn. Okay, let's have a look. So 168, so round to the nearest 100, so it's currently in the 100s. The digit to the right tells us what to do. 6 means we need to round up, so we're not staying in the 100s, we're going to the next 100, which is 200. Okay. This one's still a 3-digit number, we're currently in the 400s. The digit to the right is a 5, and 5 means round up, so we don't stay in the 400s, we go to 500. And with the last one, ooh, the thousands have joined in. But we'll ignore them for now, because they're not part yet. Well, they could be, but they're not part of the rounding process. So 124. So we're focusing on the hundreds, and it's the digit to the right that's telling us what to do. 2 means round down or stick in the hundreds you're currently in. We're currently in the 100s, so we're going to stay in the 100s. And then our 8,000 can join back in. So those are your 3 answers. Well done if you got them. Don't worry if you make a mistake. Let's say learning, that's fine. And so there's, just like last week, there's I'm sure quite a few rounding lessons from Maths Live, so you can go back and have a practice of some of the others. So obviously the last one we're going to look at today is rounding to the nearest 1,000. Now, some of you who are watching in year 6 or year 7 might say, well, we've got to round to the nearest million. I'm not going to go all the way up to 1,000,000, basically because you just follow the same step. If you round to the 1,000, we're focused on the thousands. Digit to the right tells us what to do. If you round to the nearest 10,000s, you focus on the 10,000s. The thousands tell you what to do. It's just like when you're adding and subtracting. When you get the steps, the rules, doesn't matter how big the number gets, you just follow the same step each time. You've got it. If you get the regrouping and exchanging, it doesn't matter if it's a 3-digit number or a 7-digit number, as long as you follow the steps. you're absolutely fine. And Wednesday's lesson, we will incorporate much bigger numbers. Okay, so round to the nearest thousand now. So we're going to focus on numbers that are in the thousands. So 3,249 and let's say 7,861. There's my first two examples. So our answer has to be a multiple of 1,000. 1,000, 2,000, 4,000, 9,000. Has to be. In this digit, we're currently in the 3,000s. Digit to the right, this time is the hundreds. Okay, we're currently in the 3,000s. 2 means round down or stick. That means we stay in the 3,000s. Okay, so 3,249 is closer to 3,000 than it is the next 1,000, which is 4,000. It's closer. 7,861. So we're currently in the 7,000s. The digit to the right tells us what to do, which happens to be an 8. An 8 means round up, so you don't stay in the thousands you're in. You go to the next 1,000. The next 1,000 after 7,000 is 8,000. Okay. Now again, if we have a bigger number, let's try quite a big one. 234,572. You might be thinking, oh, well, how do you round this to the nearest 1,000? Don't panic. Don't panic. Right, let's find the thousands. First of all, let's find the thousands place values. So we've got units, tens, hundreds, thousands, 10,000s, but we've found the thousands. That's the most important thing. It's here. We're currently in the 4,000, so let's ignore the higher place values next to it just for a little bit. So we're currently in the 4,000s. The digit to the right tells us what to do. 5 means round up, so we're not staying in the 4,000s, we're going to the 5,000s. So 4,572 rounded to the nearest 1,000 is 5,000. And then we put our digits back and front. I think breaking it down like that rather than sort of spilling out the whole number. 234,572 rounded to the nearest 1,000 is 235. It can be a bit of a mouthful. So breaking it up and visualising it, I think can really, really help. Okay, so here's your last 3 questions of the lesson, and then like I said on Wednesday we're going to mash this all together with just single numbers at a time. You'll see what I mean. Okay, your first number, 7,829. I'm going to do 3,144, and then we're going to do 14,831. Can you round those to the nearest 1,000 for me? Okay, so let's have a look. So for this digit, so we're currently in the 7,000s. The 8 tells us what to do. 8 means round up to the next 1,000. So we're not going to stay in the 7,000s. We're going to go to 8,000. For the next one, we're currently in the 3,000s. The digit to the right is 1. So 1 tells us to round down or stick in the thousands that we're in. So the answer is going to be 3,000. And for the last question, now be careful, because this is the thousands column. So units, tens, hundreds, thousands. I've seen a few times where you can assume that it's the very left place values that will what's been looked at, but no, find it. So we're currently in the 4,000s. We're going to ignore this for a few seconds. We're currently in the 4,000s. The digit to the right tells us what to do. 8 means round up, so we're not going to stay in the 4,000s. We're going to go up to the 5,000s. And then we put our 10,000 digit back in front. So the answer is 15,000. Hope that was all right. Thank you for joining in, whether it was live or it's catch up. And like I say, on Wednesday we're going to round again, but it's a higher level sort of upper key stage 2 skill where you're given one number and you have to round it into different forms just on its own. Okay, so join me for that on Wednesday. Enjoy the rest of your day. See you later. Bye bye.